Yo, it is finished, my 30-day challenge, and I'm a little tired. So this video was delayed, and there is a reason. End of the week, I got very bad food poisoning. I got a nasty parasite from the food in Mexico. It happens. I call it Mexican roulette, but not 100%, maybe 70% right now, feeling better. And I knew I needed to make this video. So this last month was crazy. I posted over 1,000 times across all platforms with no team, no editor, no additional help. And going into it, not as much structure as I should have had. When I first started on day one, I thought that I had a very solid roadmap. By day 3, I realized that roadmap did not apply. I threw it in the trash and started working off of intuition. I think that it's really important as a creator to understand when to stick with the plan and when to pivot, and have that ability to pivot and be agile in the moment to open yourself up to other opportunities. Initially, I had very strict goals, and quickly I realized this was a huge opportunity to gather data and use this as a case study and make data-supported decisions moving forward. Also create some very powerful documents that I can use as content guides and ways to find your voice for your audience, for myself, for future projects, and for future clients who might be on that day one of their journey in the future. It was very challenging. Not leaving the house, I actually kind of liked. Refusing any invite from my friends, that was getting a little difficult because it is boring in here. But truthfully, with the workload that I had, I didn't have the energy to do the things that weren't allowed in the challenge anyway. By the time I was satisfied with the amount of work that I'd done in the day, I wasn't sitting around being like, oh, it's 4 a.m. Maybe I should boot up the PlayStation, play a couple rounds of games with my friends or something. The leisure time wasn't there. So saying no to the things not allowed in the challenge was unfortunately easier than you'd think. I did have some issues along the way. Some technical issues when I first started. The first couple videos that I did, combined with the social media stuff, filled up the available storage that I had on my device so quickly. And since I'm not operating out of a home base, I didn't have all of the tech that I needed. I quickly realized I needed external hard drive, dongle, and ways to get these big ProRes files off of the phone while still using wireless camera, HDMI, remote charger, things like that. The scale of which I was outputting required solutions. I had some videos where I recorded the entire thing and then I'd go into it and see, oh, the file is corrupted. Or I'd record the entire thing, go back into it and be like, oh, the microphone had a limit issue. I've got to do that again. There was one video on the 30-day challenge. I'd record 4 times. I thought that video was cursed. I was about to change the topic. I was like, maybe it's the script. Maybe it's the script. They don't want me to say this. But I got it out and now it's done. And I think that's a really important lesson is step 1 is do it. Step 2, do it better. It's all about starting and just getting it out there, doing the reps, getting the practice. The biggest surprise was seeing the amount of time that a YouTube long form video, even these simple ones, took at scale. When you start doing them back to back to back, every 24 hours there's a new one, I realized that these videos are taking about 6 hours each from concept to post. From the concept, research, framework, scripting, recording, editing, thumbnail, all the YouTube posting steps. So 6 hours of every day just on one post on one platform was a huge time commitment. I started out just kind of sharing my journey and documenting how I was going. And then I decided I wanted to get into some of the core beliefs that I have and values that I share, like the importance of parasocial relationships in building your personal brand. That's kind of something that I build my entire platform around when I'm teaching. Things like explaining the trust lever, the importance of doing hard shit, and other realizations that I came across as I was going through this process. There was a lot of personal growth that happened from it. And that I think is very valuable too. And so is building an audience, not on just one platform. That is very important if you're building a personal brand. Don't pick one platform and think they have your best interest in mind. If you're building your audience on Instagram, you've got 500,000 followers on Instagram. That's not your audience. That's their audience. You're just taking care of them. Own your audience. I had a whole video on that. I broke down my creative process and how I'm able to generate ideas as a creator. After I worked through that, I realized I had enough concepts that I wanted to make a series. So I created the Ultimate Creators Playbook, which I covered a bunch of different things, kind of a beginning to the end of the building your life as a freelance creative. I'm very proud of this series. How to structure it so you can actually make a living with multiple revenue streams, how to get to your first 10K month, time management as a freelance creative, how to get everything done without burnout, how to show up on camera with confidence and be able to talk on camera like I'm doing with you right now, and sharing where I started and how I got to this point where I feel like I can do this. The most important video I did in that series was how to become a dangerous creative. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch it right now. I think that it applies to anyone in any industry, not just in the creative industry. If you're a CPA, there's been a time where you had to record an instructional video internally or for one of your clients to let them know how to do something. And it would have been nice to know how to record that video, post it on a website, maybe gather emails from potential clients with a single card website that you could throw up. Just having workable knowledge in all of the main categories makes you so much more efficient in whatever industry you're in. And efficiency equals value. I covered aura and why that is actually important as a content creator and not just a meme, and something that was a little painful to share, which is the 5 stages of being a content creator or your progress arc. It's tough to realize where you are sometimes and why you're stuck. But if you don't know where you are, it's very hard to get out of it. So that was something I really wanted to share. Until you know what your barrier is, you can't get past it. I even dropped a video on breaking down the algorithm for Instagram and another one for breaking down the algorithm for TikTok in 2025. Just a lot of facts and data and how it applies to you. Honestly, this entire process, YouTube was a lot, but gathering data from the 200 plus shorts that I posted from these long form videos on YouTube, I was able to take all of the extended data from them. I took all of that extended data that I took from the YouTube shorts and combined that with transcripts from all of the YouTube shorts, threw that into AI, and was able to get a really powerful detailed breakdown, not only of the different types of content that I put out, but a bunch of different KPIs for those content types relating to the audience that I have, the audience that I want, and how they interact with each one of them. I think that is super powerful, and I'm going to use that data moving forward. I'm currently gathering all of the data from all of the platforms to do the same thing, to try to get a grand picture of what my audience looks like, what they want, and where I want to go from here. After this, I'm going to take some time to assess all of that data, because I will admit that over this last month, some of the things that I was posting felt like I was just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall. It's important as a new creator to show up with a game plan and a content strategy. Otherwise, you're going to be doing just that. Having a very narrow, digestible message with your content is going to help you find your audience quicker. When you're starting from zero and you don't have that base of followers to support your risks and your things that you're playing around with, you're going to either get zero exposure or it's going to be a hit. And playing when you're in the dark like that, when you don't get any feedback from a failure, is very hard to make educated decisions. And that's what I was doing. So it's better to show up with a plan. Okay, now to the money. How much money did I earn in my 30-day content creator challenge? I earned exactly $0. No revenue, zero. But that's okay. I consider the entire challenge a success because here are my wins. I built a content archive across these platforms that is larger than most personal brands build in 2 to 3 years. Now moving forward, I can continue to reference back to that and build onto it. So this sprint gave me a big head start, and that is huge. And because of that, I got 29 inbound leads asking about my service who had never heard of me before, and an additional 8 referral leads from my existing network. Because of the content archive that I had, they were able to see what I'm about before they took that leap. And that would be lead nurturing. And I have 5 discovery calls already booked for August, and it's the 3rd. So that's looking pretty good too. I started off at 0 and I grew to 1,000 connections on LinkedIn with about 10,000 impressions on average per week now. This was gained by sharing the content that I posted here on YouTube and repurposing some of those topics that I generated for the YouTube long form to create some value posts on LinkedIn as well. Additionally, I got an extra 150,000 views on TikTok just in the last week from some older posts that I had that got served back up into the FYP, which is there's a long list of reasons why as an entrepreneur or creative that you should start building your personal brand today. Start posting today. Build that content archive, because if you don't have it, no one is going to see it. If you post it and no one sees it, you don't get any views, that's fine. But if you don't make it ever, you can go to the lake and go fishing all day and go home empty-handed. But if you don't have any lines in the water, you're never going to catch anything. Thanks for rocking with me to the end. Thanks for joining me on this content creator journey. And thank you for all of your support as well. This journey's not over. I'm just getting started. Hit the subscribe button. Let's keep going. All right. Peace.